slips out of a few tackles, and Peter Hago left for the races. Sheds the first defender, sheds the second defender.
Busted open. Jack Smith down the right sideline and into the end zone.
Hello, welcome. Varsity Sports Live. We're live right now. I'm Darren Wallace, filling in for Brownie, David Brown, joined by Jason and Dara, the regular on the show. It's great to be here, Jason. And of course, Friday Night Lights, nothing better, right?
Nothing better. And tonight, some of the classic matchups weren't there, but we turned in some really good contests that we didn't know were going to be good contests, and a lot of stuff unfolded as we get closer to the playoffs. We're going to get a little seeding advantages tonight by some of the teams.
Yeah, we're creeping towards the end of the year. Few surprise results. Let's take a look at all the results from all around South Dakota tonight. 65-6, Sioux Falls Lincoln over Rapid City Stevens as they continue their dominance this year. And then O'Gorman with a huge win, 2 versus 3 matchup there over Sioux Falls Jefferson, 14-7, JD.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and that game was super low scoring. I didn't know that the Knights could be held to 14 and still win. But we'll have highlights of that one coming right up.
They say defense wins championships. Now, on to the next. We got Harrisburg and Sioux Falls, Washington. Ooh. Harrisburg, a stunner, not a stunner result-wise, but a thriller rather, 27-24. A field goal difference separates these two teams. And then Brandon Valley over Pierre, 35-14. Jandy, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Brandon Valley ended a streak they definitely wanted to end at some point. They get it done tonight.
Yeah, Pierre had won quite a few games in a row. We're getting into those highlights, and they ran all over the Governors tonight. We'll have highlights of Levi Veskrin and crew coming up.
Yankton continues their dominance, 48-0 over Brookings, and also Rapid City Central. They struggled once again. Sioux Falls Roosevelt, though, a huge 40-point showing, 40-6. I'll take that every day of the week. And then, like I said, Yankton improves to 5-1 after the big win. Let's move on over to T-Area over Sturgis Brown, 26-7. Impressive victory.
In this game, it was 12-7 at halftime. Only 6 complete passes in the entire game between both teams. So T-Area wins ugly, and that's kind of been the theme this year for them, but they keep winning.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They say just win is a win is a win, as they say. Watertown 16, Aberdeen Central 14. Big win for number 4 Watertown, as they will most likely, who knows if they'll keep that ranking, but a close win this time of the year can be all the difference.
Had just ran off 3 consecutive victories. They missed a field goal in the last minute of the game, which would have given them the lead. We'll have highlights of that one as well.
Yeah, Spearfish and Mitchell. How about Mitchell?
What happened here?
They enter the win column 35-28 over ranked Spearfish.
The last we saw of Mitchell was them getting run off the field by Jefferson live on Midco Sports last week. And they came back, got their first win of the year. Parker Denny, 4 touchdowns, and he sealed it with a game-winning pick 6 in the fourth quarter. How about that? To get a win over a ranked opponent, Spearfish goes down for just the second time this year.
Huge win for the Colonels there. And then Huron, 48-7 over Douglas, taking care of business over there. Huge matchup between two teams with some good records, so an impressive win. Dakota Valley Lennox over Dakota Valley, 38-6. They dominate there. And then West Central over Tri-Valley, 20-6. Little low scoring affair there, but West Central nonetheless takes care of business. Then let's move on over to Bridgewater Emory Ethan. They fall to winner. It's hard to lose when you're called winner, and they're not losing this year. All they do is win, Jandy.
They haven't lost for a long time. They have made their home in the Dome at the end of the season, and they come in number 1. Take out a 1-loss Bridgewater Emory Ethan team. And this was close as well. Early in the first quarter, this thing was tied. It was low scoring, and then late in the game, winner found a way to get the 20-point win.
And then number 1 Warner over Hamlin, and another tight matchup between two highly ranked teams. And not sure how much this is going to affect seeding for Hamlin, but Warner, a much-needed win on the road. They get the job done, 22-13. Let's move on over to Wall in Harding County. Wall just took care of business. It was 29-0 at halftime, and they ran away with this one, 41-12. They kind of asserted their dominance in this one.
I thought this would be much closer. Harding County had been playing much better, but Wall came in, and we've got highlights of Burke Blasius and crew getting it done.
And then Alcester-Hudson over Avon, 48-26. Ton of points there, but Alcester gets the job done, and they stay undefeated, JD.
Yeah, that's interesting. They're in 9A, still undefeated. Get a quality win over a 9B team, but that's still a quality win, and Avon only takes their second loss of the season.
And then another 9A matchup, Dubrook and Canastota, 28-0, a one-score game as Canastota, the number 2 seed, they stay strong and fight off a team coming in trying to get a big road win.
Canastota has had nothing but close games this year, and this goes to show that Dubrook's a real player in 9A. If they get into the playoffs, I mean, they're a team you're not going to want to see on the other side of the bracket. Even though they're not ranked, they have played really close, really good games all season long, just the 2 losses, and Canastota somehow gets it done. And again, you got to get the win if it's ugly or not.
Yeah, win pretty, win ugly. And you mentioned playoffs. This time of the year, playoff seeding, wins and losses, points, it can be all the difference between playing a bunch of home playoff games or going on the road. But enough of the scores. We talked about who won and who lost. Let's take a look at just how they did it. We'll start with Stevens at Lincoln. Stevens with 1 win this season, took the 5-hour drive to Lincoln, and they probably left the buses running for this one. First quarter, Lincoln in the red zone. Quarterback Tate Schaefer finds Jack Smith in the end zone. Little pitch and catch, easy does it. Lincoln leads 7-0. Then the next Lincoln possession, Schaefer dropping back, rolling to his right, lofts one up, and a tiptoe catch for Mikey Roach.
Way to hang in there, Austin Bramley.
as Lincoln moves the 6, and then a few plays later, Schaefer getting everyone involved now. It's time for Isaac Jarofsky. He punches it in for 6.
Just committed to USF, by the way. Congratulations, Isaac.
14-0 Lincoln after that one. Still in the fourth quarter now. Lincoln on the move again, and that touchdown makes it 21-0. Schaefer finds Jack Smith again. It was early and often scoring. Now Lincoln leads 28-0. And in case you were still wondering, though, Jandy, we're still in the first quarter. Lincoln still has the ball, and Schaefer to Jack Smith.
And it's still Jack Smith scoring touchdowns left and right. Last week, set a school record for most touchdown receptions. This week, padded that total a little bit more. And by the way, Tate Schaefer was only 171 yards away from a school record for passing yards. I'm assuming he made that total tonight, so congratulations to him. And just no contest between Lincoln and Stevens.
Yeah, you'd imagine scoring 65 points. You can set a couple records, even in a single game, right?
They've been doing that all year. That's the 4th time they've had a running clock this year, which means they've had a 35-point lead or more in the second half out of their 6 games. This is a dominating season for Lincoln. Let's go to that number 2 versus number 3 game. There's a look at Vince Benedetto going against Jason Poppinga, and the number 2 O'Gorman team was at home. This was a defensive battle to get started. And when there's only 1 touchdown in the first half, we show some defensive plays. A bad snap, Ethan Swenson can't come up with it. Lathan Wilcox does come up with it, and O'Gorman's in business. But look at this defense from Jefferson. There's a team sack led by the Wisconsin commit, Thomas Heiberger, who gets a big one in this game. With 33 seconds left in the first half, let's finally let Maverick Jones eat, and he goes to the end zone for 6 to break the scoreless tie. It was 7-0 at halftime. But starting off the third quarter, look at this little sneaky sneak. Heiberger in motion takes the snap and runs it up the middle. They tie the ball game up at 7. We're going to go all the way down to the last drive of the game. We're within 2 minutes at the end of the game. 2 big 15-yard plays here. With 33 seconds left, Maverick Jones picks up 15. And then Ryland Satter, untouched into the end zone. That was touch football.
Look at it. Oops, I did it again.
He did it again.
He did it again.
The game-winning touchdown with 33 seconds left. They take the 14-7 lead and get a we talked about seeding here. This is a very important win for O'Gorman seeding-wise. And after the game, I talked to Ryland Satter and Hayden Gross, and they were very aware of that seeding situation.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I'd say it's number 1 for sure. Knowing that we came in, we knew it was going to be a battle to the fourth quarter. Came down the last couple of minutes. We scored a touchdown right at the end there. We got the strip at the end. We secured it. Knowing that if we can continue out, win out for the rest of games, hopefully we can seal that 2 seed.
I mean, it was a crazy atmosphere. Having it be homecoming and then winning on that game-winning touchdown, it was crazy. The emotions were high. We did this against Brandon Valley once before, and we could do it again. We knew we could do it again. So we went out, executed it, and ended up winning. So it was really exciting.
Yeah, both of those guys told me after the game how big that win was for seeding. And interestingly enough, Ryland Satter, who plays both ways a lot of the year, he said after what we did against Lincoln last week and we got so tired in the second half, we started taking rests on defense. And Satter said he was fresh for those last 2 drives on that last touchdown drive because he got some rest in the fourth quarter on the defensive side of the ball. So a little inside tip that really helped O'Gorman win that game.
Yeah, especially at the high school level. You got a lot of two-way players sometimes, and getting those rests, getting those plays off, those breaks, it can be the difference. And it proved to be the difference tonight as they were able to pick up a much-needed win. Now on to arguably the game of the night.
Yeah, it turned out to be the game of the night.
At Harrisburg, fourth ranked right now. It's Hoco season. It was homecoming for Harrisburg. We got Levi Danielson, who scores the first touchdown with that 4-yard run as Harrisburg gets off to a hot start. And then Justin Gumbera, interception. Oski, he intercepts Tommy Hoffman.
Yeah, Hoffman's had such a good year for Washington, but I'll tell you what, the defense for Harrisburg continues to get better and better each week, and Cabrera kept him in this game.
A big fourth down here for the Warriors as Hoffman's pass gets tipped and by Harrisburg's Logan O'Connor into the arms of the wide receiver Owen Warney, who's tackled at the 1-yard line, Jandy. And then Mason Wilson carries the ball on the next play, and it's all tied up at 6. And then Harrisburg, they'd strike back, though, with 35 seconds left in the half. Sam Knuth finds Titan Tryon for the touchdown to give Harrisburg a 13-6 halftime lead. This game was tight all the way through. Look at the crowd. Everyone's into it. This game was electric, Jandy. Now, Washington strikes first in the second half, though, as Mason Wilson runs in for his second touchdown. And then the Tigers would block the extra point, though, so the game would stay tied at 13-13. But then Harrisburg driving when this backwards pass, it gets picked up. That's a fumble.
Heads up, everybody.
Heads up play there. So now the refs are going to talk it over, and it's going the other way. Heads up play by the defense there.
Jeremiah Oman, I believe, recovered that, and then they come back with an extra scoring drive.
Yeah, so they'll get the field goal to put them up 3 there. Now this next play, Knuth, he hits Max Carlson down the sideline. Look at him juggling, bobbling the ball, reels it in, and there he goes, untouched to the house. Max Carlson with the go-ahead touchdown, and that would be big as Harrisburg retakes the lead after what could have been a costly fumble. Then Harrisburg on the move again. Josiah Hines, look at this run up the middle. He gets to that second level and he gets the burst, and look at that speed in open field, Jandy.
All year, Harrisburg's been looking for big plays in the running game, and Levi Danielson came up big tonight, and then Hines, you see, comes up big there. Washington tacked on a touchdown to get within 3 points at the end, but it was really Harrisburg pushing it with those 2 scores to Max Carlson and Hines at the end of the game that was the difference.
Yeah, we caught up with Harrisburg after the game to talk about this big win. A field goal separates them. Let's hear what they had to say.
I feel like our offensive line did an amazing job. Our receivers stepped up and made plays, but our offensive line really stepped up there when we needed them. I ran the ball a little bit. Max came up with a huge play. Titan had a huge play. Our defense played really well. Special teams is on point tonight. It's just trusting everyone to make plays and go out and do it. Just play together. That's, I guess, just plain and simple. It's like we're really starting to connect together, and that's what great teams do, like Coach White always talks about. And that's what we need to do, play more connected, and then we'll be a dangerous team to beat come playoff time.
There at the end, Jandy, playoff time. You know, this is the time of the year, especially in high school. You know, you only get so many games. So that midway, that mid to late September push, it can be all the difference. And you hear them talk about playoff seeding, getting connected at this time. You want to be playing your best football from the second half on. And this is going to be a huge win. Definitely one of those wins that can propel a team this stage of the year.
You need to beat. They go into that game as the favorites against Washington. They get into a close game. You need to make sure you get all those wins. And Sam Knuth said it perfectly. He thanked the O-line, every single one of his receivers, and he's putting the money on the ball. That guy is been getting better and better through the season. He's going to make them a threat in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And I think.
All right, let's go back to Howard Wood Field for the early one between Rapid City Central and Roosevelt. Roosevelt finally stocked with their full team for once. They get it started with Talon Steef, who takes the 15-yard touchdown as he plants his foot and bounces it outside for the first score of the game. And it's Jackson Brower with the toss to the outside. Tayden Nave, one of their big-time playmakers on both sides of the ball. He catches it and waltzes in. And Roosevelt needed this after a couple of weeks of really struggling to get things going. They got the offense clicking with their senior quarterback, Jackson Brower, who keeps it himself and runs it in for the 21-0 lead early in the game. As we go to the second quarter now, Brower is going to find Tayden Nave once again. So again, a week without Jackson Gravengood, their main player in the backfield, but a little bit of a respite playing against Rapid City Central. give Rapid City Central credit. They stayed within 34, which for them, hey, that's a step up in the right direction. They're winless this year. They're going to get better next year, but Roosevelt gets a much-needed victory.
Yeah, and when you get all your weapons back, it's tough to play at any level of football without your guys, without your top dogs. So when you can get all your guys back, this is the type of game where you get your rhythm back. You put up 40 points against a struggling Central team. And Central, like you said, this is a moral victory.
Yep.
And there's only so much you can say about moral victories, but nonetheless, it can go a long way. And even when you haven't won a game,
no running clock.
It can send you in the right direction.
Right, that's huge for them just to get on the board. This would be an interesting one. Brandon Valley
at Pierre. Pierre, let's go to Pierre now. The Governors, they had a 20-game winning streak coming into this matchup, so you could say that the Lynx were basically overdue. And now
they were due.
We open up with Brandon Valley at the goal line, and Levi Veskerna finishes off the drive with a 1-yard touchdown run. Then in the second quarter on 4th and 7, Jack Thu follows his O-line. Dewey. He scores to put Brandon Valley up 14-0. Then later in the second quarter,
go to your
D1. 3rd and 5, and Cade Kaiser rolls right, hits Jet Zabel wide open.
He got penalized for over-celebrating here. I don't know why, but hey.
Hey, celebrating with his teammates. You're usually allowed to do that, but now it's the middle of the second quarter, and then Levi Veskerna again breaks through and runs away from the pack. A big touchdown for Brandon Valley, and then they'll punch it in for the 2-point conversion. Brandon goes up 21-7. They would win this one. They finally put an end to the losing streak.
Their winning streak, yeah.
To the Governor's winning streak.
Yeah.
Brandon Valley 35-14 over Pierre. Number 5 beating number 1. That's a huge win.
That's a huge
Brandon Valley team.
Huge win. I know Brandon Valley's a class above, and last year they played. Brandon Valley got a good lead, and Pierre came back in the second half and won it with the Ohio State quarterback Lincoln Kienholz taking the team on his shoulders. But this year, Levi Veskerna was too much. Look at that, 43 carries. That was the game plan, is to use their average size on their line of 280-plus pounders and push the Governors around, and that's exactly what they did.
Who says running backs don't matter, Jandy?
And O-line, baby, and O-line. Let's go to Aberdeen and see how they did against the Arrows.
Yeah, let's go to Aberdeen, an 11 AA showdown with heavy playoff implications. Jandy, you mentioned jockeying for playoff position.
Yeah, Mason Shemp, he hits down the line to get things started.
Yeah, Cooper Eisenbeis does the rest of the work. 80-yard pitch and catch, and it's a touchdown for Aberdeen, who goes up 7-0 with that huge bomb play. But then Watertown, Juven Hudson responds and makes it 7-6 with that
keeps his touchdown streak alive. He's had a touchdown about every single week, but they missed the extra point on that one. It was 7-6.
Yep. Aberdeen maintains their 1-point lead, and then Aberdeen would go back up with a touchdown to Avery Ligon, 14-6. And then Watertown, check out this play, rolling to his left.
It's hard to see on the stream, but this is an excellent catch.
Yeah, look at this catch in the back of the end zone. He got his feet in, so that would make it.
Mitch Olsen, by the way.
Mitch Olsen, 14-13. Then you go to the third quarter, a 20-yard field goal makes it 16-14. Watertown from Tommy Foley. And then we go to the fourth quarter, a 29-yard field goal from Joey Dahlman.
No good.
And no good. He would miss that one, no good. So Watertown, number 4 Watertown hangs on to beat Aberdeen 16-14.
And Central had a shot. They're coming on strong these last couple of weeks. A win like this over a ranked team really would have propelled them to a better spot in the seeding. This is going to be a tough loss as far as the rankings go, but they played right with Watertown. They know they can play with those ranked teams.
Yeah, and this is, again, you can only say so much about moral victory.
Right.
But as far as moral victories go, this is definitely a confidence booster for Aberdeen, but a big win for Watertown.
They needed that dub.
Win. They needed it. They get it. And that's how you get the job done, Jandy.
That's how you do it. Let's look at 11A, where Lennox and Dakota Valley each came in with 1 loss. Lennox had the most explosive offense in the class. Dakota Valley had the best defense. What would win? Well, I'll tell you what would win. It was Boston Katzer hooking up with Porter Enan. Where have we seen that before? 60 yards. This one would set up the keeper that would come a couple plays later. Excuse me, not a keeper. It would be Boston Katzer in the end zone to Enan once again. Extra point, no good. Lennox up 6-0 early on. And the offensive explosion did not stop there. Lucas Bonci on defense would pick off Drew Luckin, and that would get them on the board. They would go for the 2-point conversion and get a 14-0 lead. So we knew Lennox's offense was good, but when they get scoring out of their defense, it could be a quick night for the Panthers, and that's exactly what it was. You see Bo Jones coming up with his defensive signature mark of the game with his interception. The drive would stall, but it does show that Dakota Valley defense was definitely still in the game. But it was Boston Katzer, the game ball winner from a couple weeks ago, who once again hooks up with the future D1 USD basketball player.
That's a catch on
He's
Sundays
a basketball
too,
player, though. And he caught it in the end zone. Porter Enan did. And second half more, this time to Tate Gertis. 13 yards, catch and run. They got the 2-point conversion, would take a 30-0 lead as the Orioles end up winning 38-6. Huge win for the Lennox Orioles, who go to West Central next week. How'd West Central do, Darren?
Well, how did West Central do? Well, they played Tri-Valley. Just 8 miles separate these two schools. Undefeated West Central, mind you. And you can see there, they try to punch in the score. They don't, and looks like we got a bit of technical difficulties there. So we're just going to show you the final score: 20-6, West Central over Tri-Valley. The little, I guess you call them crosstown rivals.
Yeah, pretty
Central
much.
Central stays undefeated in a game which was close for most of it, and they pull away at the end.
Yeah, Chet Sarda went in with a touchdown early on. Another good run by Aiden Bartman. They ran the ball really well. Brody Divebig, just the sophomore running back for Tri-Valley, did get the touchdown for Tri-Valley, but in the end, it was running the football. These West Central Trojans, last week they showed they could throw it with Caden Elfson. This week they just ran the ball straight down the throat. Got the clock ran off and beat the Mustangs.
Yeah, cut it out with the trick plays, Bert. Run the dang ball, right?
Run the dang ball, and they did. So they are undefeated, and they get Lennox next week.
Now let's go to, why don't we check out Warner and Hamlin, Jandy. Another one. This was an exciting night of football, and this one didn't disappoint either.
Yeah, Warner's had this tough stretch of schedules where they had to play Falkton, the number 1 team last week in 9B. Then they play the number 2 team in 9AA. This week, they got on the board right away with Hunter Kramer, and then you see recover a fumble to get into great field position. That is so nice when you can start the game out with a 2-score lead on Hamlin. Hunter Kramer, our player of the year from last year, does it again with his feet, and Warner's up 2 scores early. They ended up going up 22-0 before Hamlin came back at halftime and scored 1, but there was almost no scoring in the second half as Hunter Kramer and Brody Sauerwin came up huge for Warner, a class below, and show that they are the number 1 team in 9A.
Yeah, isn't that some kind of a win? When you can go to a team,
bigger school,
bigger school, and really take it to them. Like you said, they dominated. It was 22-0 before Hamlin was even able to get on the board. So Warner, 22-13 might not really tell the whole score of this game because Warner was in control from the beginning.
Yeah, and I talked to Kerwin Hayline, the Warner coach. He said, we have good depth this year, and that depth showed. Even though they're a smaller school, they have good depth. They played discipline. Hamlin was possibly looking to get Luke Frazier back, their top running back. He didn't play as far as I saw in the highlights, at least. So Hamlin still has some room to improve, and they've got some players still coming back. So don't worry too much about this loss.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a trip over to Wall at Harding. The defending 9AA champs travel to Harding, the new number 2 in that section.
Yeah, Harding County moving up.
But Wall showed that they are the top dog. We'll join him in this game in the first quarter. Already 7-0, the Eagles are up. And Levi Sharp says, you know I had to double it. 45-yard punt return to the house as the Eagles would double their lead 14-0 with 1:17 left to go in the first. Jenny, this game was over relatively quickly. Then we'll go to the second quarter. Blake Burgess over the middle to Sharp again, untouched for 36 yards this time. He takes it to the house, 21 skunk now. The Eagles up over Harding County.
Surprising to me. I thought Harding County had been improving with the passing game and would give Wall a better game.
Yeah, and then just before the half, how about another score for good measure? This time it's little brother Jace Blazius. He reverses field, and look at this run. 40 yards to pay dirt. Wall runs away with this one in terms of the score. 29-0 at half. 41-12 is your final. Wall, a dominating win over Harding County.
And Wall had been averaging over 340 yards of offense this year. And people think, oh, just because they're the state defending champions, they're just going to come back and do it again. Well, they only have one starter. Because of injuries, they only have one starter who played in that championship game last year. And they're putting up W's like this. Very impressive for the Wall Eagles.
Yeah, it shows you sometimes dominant programs stay dominant, whether they graduate a little or they graduate a lot. And let's take a trip over to Avon at Alcester.
A little 9B versus 9A action. Look at the big man right here. Jose Topete Lopez. rumbling down the
rumbling, bumbling.
Yeah, give the big
stumbling.
guy the ball. Come on. I knew he was a good defensive lineman, but I didn't know how good he was carrying the football. And then look, they do it with some defense as well. Paxton Birima takes the hit, and it's scooped up by William Holloway for the touchdown. Paxton Birima would throw a little jump ball into the end zone. It's going to get picked off by Ethan Beauville, and this Cub defense came up big against a high-scoring Avon offense to get it done. Mateo Kleinhaus keeps it himself, one of the top quarterbacks in 9A. So they're the 5 team in 9A. Warner's still undefeated. Alcester still undefeated. You saw Canastota barely get a win. 9A is kind of in a raid now, and you got to look at Alcester-Hudson as being a contender in this class where we kind of maybe dismissed them a little bit. This is a signature win for them.
Yeah, I mean, to be 7-0 undefeated and you're still the number 5 ranked team, there's definitely probably a little chip on their shoulder. The Cubs kind of look a little bit more like some Grizzlies tonight, 48-26. That'll send a message to not only the 9A, but to the whole state that they're for real.
It's interesting how, you get kind of a reputation just because they haven't been able to win in the playoffs the last couple of years, and that reputation follows you into the rankings. But this is a real win for them. So, hey, I'm going to jump up Alcester in my next rankings.
Are you jumping on the bandwagon? I'm trying to jump on the bandwagon.
I'll be
the Cubs.
Let's go Cubs.
I'm all aboard the Cubs. Let's
we'll
go
be Cubs fans.
Yeah.
Well, go Cubs, go.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, it's North Dakota highlights. We took a look at South Dakota. We'll hear from Jody and Carson up in North Dakota after the break. You're watching Varsity Sports Live.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different. Varsity Sports Live, presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University.
Welcome up to North Dakota. Carson Zark, Jody Norstead with you to carry on this show tonight. In 5 top 5 matchups in the state of North Dakota. This is kind of a prove-it weekend for a lot of these teams, Cars.
Yeah, big matchups tonight. Like you mentioned, a lot of top 5 matchups tonight. Excited to give you guys a rundown.
Let's take a look at the scores first, and we start at the big class in a big win for the Cheyenne Mustangs. How about that? Minot, tough to go on the road, tough to play against Cheyenne, but the Mustangs proved a point tonight. They beat number 2 Minot, hand them their first loss 28-20. Highlights of that one coming up shortly. Bismarck 42-21 over Mandan, had to come from behind in that one. Let's keep it rolling in the rest of 3A. Shanley all over Bismarck Legacy tonight. West Fargo gets the win over St. Mary's at home for the Packers. Bismarck Century over Williston 42-6, and Davies playing Fargo South, a little bit of a rivalry there, 41-17. Highlights of that one coming up as well. Fargo North and Red River, that's the one that we had for you right here on Midco Sports. The Spartans 38-20 over the Rough Riders. In Dickinson, a top 5 win over Jamestown. They beat the 2-time defending state champs 29-24. Grand Forks Central falls at Horus tonight. So another big win for Horus, their 3rd win of the year. Wahpeton edges out Valley City for a big win. And Kindred over Lisbon, the 2nd-ranked Vikings. Highlights of that one tonight, as well as Oaks' big victory over Mayport CG, 40-0. Keep it rolling with the scoreboards. Ellendale-Edgeley Cullum goes on the road to Hillsborough Central Valley, wins 28-7. Velva, no problem at home, 60-20 over Stanley. In Delax Burlington last night, a 14-8 victory over Bishop Ryan. Langdon, Edmore Munich. Boy, they're really rolling right now. Josh Kavarch's group puts up 54 tonight on Grafton. South Border, this was a top 5 matchup in 9-man. Beats New Salem Almont 50-12, and West Hope Newburgh Glenburn 54-19 over Alexander. That was a battle of unbeatens in 9-man. We'll have highlights of that South Border New Salem matchup coming up. North Prairie 56-20 over North Star, and Hettinger County gets the win over Kidder County tonight. But the big matchup that we just talked about in 3A, Minot against Cheyenne. Let's see how it happened. Let's get over to Mustang Stadium. Cheyenne has won 5 straight against Minot, but this year's Magi squad has been dominant. 5-0, 4 shutouts. Magicians up 3-0 in the first, but Caden Olson finds Caleb Deere, the former starting quarterback, with a receiving touchdown, makes it 7-3. Second quarter, Cheyenne on the move again, but Olsen's pass is going to be bobbled and picked by Logan Conklin. All this guy does is make plays.
Yeah, Logan Conklin's a big play receiver on the offensive end, but getting the pick six, helping that defensive side out.
He already has 6 receiving touchdowns on just 11 catches this season. That's the score at halftime, 10-7, Minot. And then Barry Pennu, injured last week, comes back, gets a touchdown here, makes it 14-10 Mustangs. Had to rule it a little bit late there. Move to the fourth now. Magicians get their ground game going. Tyson Ruziska with his 7th rushing touchdown of the season. Minot up 17-14. Later in the fourth, Cheyenne goes back in front. It's Pennu again. Somehow is going to emerge from this pile of bodies. And Pennu, the strength, the speed, 21-17 Mustangs. Cheyenne with tremendous balance all night. It's going to be Olsen to Deer again.
Yeah, Olsen going up big, ripping it down for the big touchdown to kind of put this one, extended it into the lead for the Cheyenne Mustangs.
So Deer makes it 28-17. Minot hanging in there. Kellen Burke gets a 43-yard field goal to cut it to a one-possession game at 28-20. Magicians try for the onside kick, but it's going to be recovered by the boys in blue. Cheyenne wins a great game, 28-20. Won't be surprised if we see these teams meet again in the postseason. The Mustangs with a big victory tonight. Let's hear from Caleb Deer afterwards.
Obviously, the 2 versus 3, we looked at it as if we needed to win this game if we wanted to be the 1 or 2 seed. So that helps us out at state. But all week, you can tell guys were focused in practice, and I think that really helped out.
So Cheyenne makes a little bit of a statement. First off, they score points against Minot, which is hard to do, but they get a big, gritty win against the Magicians.
Yeah, they really did, and it was kind of a statement win for Cheyenne. Coming into this game, Minot was only giving up 12 points all season long, so for Cheyenne to go out there with all the dynamic athletes that they have on offense and score 28 points is impressive.
I think we see those two teams meet again in the postseason. Just saying. 4th-ranked Bismarck visiting 5th-ranked Mandan. Anyone remember last year's game between these two? The Braves put up 63 on the Demons. That was the most points ever allowed for BHS, and they pick up right where they left off. Hudson Sheldon gets into the end zone. Demons looking to answer, though. They're on the 2-yard line. Quinn Hafner rolls right. He's going to fire to Luke Doctor for the touchdown. Demons down 1 after the blocked extra point. Then the Braves on the drive now, going to be deep in their own territory. Sheldon rears back, throws a missile. Tristan Ulmer hits him in stride, and Ulmer's behind the defense.
Yeah, impressive arm strength by Sheldon to get that ball out there, and Tristan Ulmer does the rest.
85-yard play there, and then how about this run by Sheldon? Escapes that play there, and then he's going to run it in for the touchdown. This is pretty.
Yeah. Sheldon was fired up after that one, you can tell.
Braves lead it 21-6. They go on to lose this one. Yes, he was celebrating there, but Bismarck comes storming back out of nowhere, wins it 42-21. I don't know how Mark Gibson's crew is doing this, but boy, their 5th straight win. They have a big showdown with Minot coming up next week. 2 Class AA, top-ranked North with revenge on its mind, visiting Red River. Remember, the Rough Riders handed the Spartans their worst loss of the season last year, 38-6. We had this one on Midco Sports for you. Ethan Welk dropping back, going to hit his buddy David Schilling for a 21-yard touchdown, makes it 7-0. Peter Hago fumbles, so Pierce Parks to Zach Elke, 37 yards for the score. North still in front 7-6 after the missed extra point. On the ensuing kickoff, though, Sam Adams-Vandell, game-changing play here.
Yeah, Sam Adams-Vandell was an X factor in this game. Had multiple touchdowns, as you see on this kick return for a touchdown, but really came out of nowhere and came onto the scene.
But North, another issue with the handoff exchange, another fumble, and Red River capitalizes. Pierce Parks going to run it 5 yards for the score, makes it 14-14 after the 2-pointer. That was with 8 minutes left in the second, but Welk gets into the end zone, a little angry run there, 4-yard touchdown, makes it 21-14 with 6:48 left in the second. And then Welk uncorks one for Adams-Vandell, again, making plays with his speed.
Yeah, Welk was impressive tonight, getting the ball over to Vandell on that big 66-yard touchdown.
And how about some trickery here? The handoff to the tight end, Zeller, who finds the other tight end, Joe Rose. We have tight end on tight end touchdown. They call themselves the Party Boys. And here's Pierce Parks dancing around, gets into the end zone. This is the only touchdown of the second half. North just got a field goal, but it was enough. They win it 38-20. North spoils homecoming night for the Riders. 1 week after Peter Hago rushed for 270 yards, the passing game takes over tonight behind Welk, who combined for 3 touchdowns in the big road victory.
That's pretty big. Our receivers, it's been slow after the first few weeks. and then just to get those guys' confidence up, Sam, Vandal, and David Schilling get their confidence up. You know, they're getting easy routes and good catches and in-game reps, so it's good for them. And then with a guy like Peter, teams have to do everything they can to stop him, and so when they do that, it really opens up other like parts of our game that we can do as a team.
Well, North was already the #1 team in the state. Now you complement that running game with that kind of passing attack. If they can get those confidence up in those guys, they can be a really dangerous team.
Yeah, I think we saw a few guys kind of burst onto the scene tonight. We had Schilling catch an early touchdown pass, and then Vandal came onto the scene with a kick return for a touchdown, and then the 66-yard touchdown as well. So they're going to need these guys to step up and play a big factor as the season goes on.
Well, they aren't in the same class, but it's still a rivalry when South and Davies clash. Eagles have won 5 straight meetings. Pick it up in the second quarter. Davies breaks the 7-all tie. Gage Brewer to Luke Lorenz for the 3-yard score right in front of the camera. 14-7 Eagles. South, meanwhile, having trouble hanging on to the ball. Looks like a big play here for Demarion Senko, but he's going to cough up the rock. Daniel Yorkie's going to recover it here. Big strip by the Eagles.
Yeah, Demarion Semenko plows him over, but kind of just loses control of the ball and ends up fumbling it back to the Eagles.
That sets up this. Grant Chosick from a yard out. Davies up 21-10 at the half. And then how about the Northern State Marching Band all of a sudden showing up at halftime, putting on a show? The drummer upside down. Sometimes I feel like that on this show. South cuts into the deficit on the opening drive of the third. Semenko atoning for that earlier sin. 32-yard touchdown. Bruins right back in it at 21-17, but the Eagles come right back. This time it's Zach Lilly, the leading rusher in the EDC, the leading tackler in the EDC. He's Mr. Everything.
Yeah, Zach Lilly is an explosive running back, just powers his way in. You can see he is jacked.
And Davies puts up 40 points for the second time in 3 weeks. They get a huge test against #1 Shanley next Friday, but they'll celebrate this victory over South tonight. Jamestown starting to gel right now. The 2-time defending state champs have won 4 straight since losing opening night to Red River. Blue Jays at fellow 4-1 squad Dickinson. Dickinson's second possession of the game. Steven Zawadny forced to scramble, and he's going to lose it. Cephas Saylor steps in, goes 48 yards on the return here. Just able to slip out of the tackle. Touchdown Jamestown. Midgets come right back. 3 minutes later, Zawadny rolls to his right. He's going to find Layden Krieg, who finds his way in. 2-point conversion good. Dickinson up 8-7. Blue Jays have the answer. Ryan Collenbach going to throw it to the left flat, hit Tyson Jorison, and boy, Tyson has some jets. 6 rushing touchdowns already on the year. Here comes another score.
Yeah, Jorison helping his quarterback out, taking the rock for a short pass and then doing the rest.
Midway through the second now, Dickinson regains the lead. Zawadny hands off to Braden Meshke, who goes off the right side, following some good blocks, and then slipping out of a tackle and finding his way into the end zone. Midgets up 15-14. Jamestown got a field goal to go up 17-15 at the break, but Dickinson wins it tonight, 29-24. How about the Midgets knocking off the 2-time defending state champs? That is a huge win for Dickinson after they fell to Devil's Lake last week. Central had last week off after stunning rival Red River. They were at Horus tonight. The Hawks playing really well. They've nearly won their 3rd straight last week. It's the Knights that strike first. Caden Johansson runs right through the face mask and into the end zone for an 11-yard score. 7-zip Central. Horus responds in a hurry here. Taylor Stefanowicz going to flip it to Mason Johnson for the 2-yard score. This play tricked out the cameraman a little bit. Harvey McMahon's Hawks even it up at 7 apiece. Same score in the second. Stefanowicz back to punt. And when we show you a punt, we know something's going to happen, right? Here comes a block.
Yep, exactly. It's never good when we show the punter, and this is what happens here. They end up getting a block and a big play for Central.
Recovered or blocked by Eli Thompson. Jake Shower, loving that, but he'd really love this. Very next play, Jack Simmers with an absolute dot to Leo Strandell.
Yeah, beautiful throw, but almost an even better catch by Strandell, just getting it on the fingertips for the score.
Knights up 15-7. Hawks answer late in the half. Tyler Garay finds very little resistance here. Nice blocking up front. 3-yard touchdown. Horus trailed 15-14 at the break, but they come back. Everyone's coming back in the second half. Bismarck did it. Horus does it tonight. They come back and win it 22-15 over Grand Forks Central. How about them Horus Hawks? 3-3. Pretty much a lock now to make the playoffs in their second year as a program. Lisbon hoping to ride the momentum from last week's last-second win over Carrington. Tough challenge facing second-ranked Kindred. Vikings strike first. Jacob Starcevic on the QB keeper. makes it 7-0 Kindred, a former game ball winner. Back come Lisbon though, 4th and 1, inside handoff to Michael Nelson. Gonna squeeze through the line, keeps it going 47 yards on the run.
Yeah, Michael Nelson was a big play waiting to happen tonight and showed up big when his team needed him.
Broncos up 8-7, second quarter. Lisbon set to punt, but it's blocked. Another blocked punt on the highlights. Isaac Spellhog, the scoop and score. Kindred up 13-8 at halftime, a little momentum there. But third quarter, Lisbon not going down without a fight. Jordan Bittner, all kinds of time, finds Cameron Opp, and Opp is loose into the pasture.
That big play from Opp here too. Just big plays piling up for Lisbon here.
So Bronx up 14-13. Fourth quarter, Kindred on the move against Starcevic. Calls his own number again, and he can just meander his way around the field, can he? 39-yard touchdown. Fifth lead change of this game, 21-14 Kindred. After a safety pushes the lead to 23-14, Starcevic adds another. The guy is just so tough to stop from that QB position.
Yeah, that's what you'd like to see out of Starcevic as a dual threat quarterback. Getting it done with 3 rushing touchdowns tonight really was the prime factor in pulling out this win over Lisbon.
Vikings remain undefeated, 29-20 of the final. Lisbon tested them all night, though. A lot of other big matchups in Region 1. Oaks at Mayport CG. Tornadoes need to keep winning to lock up a playoff spot, and boy, they didn't have much trouble doing that tonight. Patriots picked up their first region win last week, but here comes Oaks. Blason Dolney finds Max Wallach on a screen, but Cutler Peterson there to throw him down at the sideline. The defensive battle continued through the first. Ryder Fugelberg fakes the handoff, looks for someone, but Marcus Garza lays a hard hit on him. First quarter ends scoreless, but Oaks finally draws first blood here. Dolney's going to find Wallach open in the end zone. That was a beautiful pass on the run.
Yeah, it was. Going out to his right and throwing across the grain to get them on the board.
Oaks didn't have much trouble scoring after that. They run away with things up in Mayville tonight, 40-0. And now Oaks and Lisbon, you just saw what Lisbon did against Kindred. Played them tough. That'll be a fun matchup coming up next week. Ellendale-Edgeley Column trying to stay in the thick of the playoff race, visiting 2-4 Hillsborough Central Valley. EEK up 7-0 at the half. They add to their lead. Jacob Nitschke rolls to his right, finds Joseph Kramlich from 6 yards for 6 from about 10 yards out, makes it 14-0 EEK. Then on the ensuing kickoff, a surprise onside kick. Drew Thorpe recovering his own kick. The Thunder have a chance to strike twice early in the third. Up 14-0 still. Thunder looking to capitalize on that recovery now. Landon Olsen just looking to protect the ball. Then he has some space and subs off the would-be tackler. And this isn't Landon Olsen. I think he plays for Hillsborough Central Valley. Excuse me. But he gets in from 35 yards out. Burrow's looking to end the shutout. Tyson LeShook rolls back, finds Kaysen Buckholes, and that eventually leads to a Hillsborough touchdown, but that would be their only touchdown. Ellendale-Edgeley Column wins it 28-7. By the way, Joseph Kramlich, who you saw there in the highlights in that first highlight, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions last week in 1 quarter, in the first quarter play. He is a real good football player in EEK with a big win tonight. Likely a home playoff game on the line as Bishop Ryan traveled to Delax Burlington last night. Jet Lundeen won our game ball last week, had 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. DLB strikes late in the first. Paxton Eastus to Colton Fellner. It's the hook and ladder. Jacob Schaefer with some room to run up the sideline, puts the Lakers up 6-0. Second quarter, more tricks. The pitch to Colton Feller, but he's going to pass deep to Braylon Fisher.
Yeah, this game was full of trick plays, as we'll see in this highlight, but a lot of fun to watch.
Takes a 12-0 lead on that play. Coach Taylor Teskey says, let's go for 2 and let the hijinks continue because Logan Rist is going to reverse it to Jake Schaefer, but he's going to pass it to the quarterback. Eastus, maybe a little Philly special here?
If that's what you want to call it, it's not quite Halloween, but the tricks are coming out here.
Showtime, Lakers up 14-zip. Jet Lundeen then hits Ramsey Walls, and another hook and ladder. This is Coy Okus, a lineman getting in on it. The NDSU commit gets them in the red zone, but the Lions will be stopped on a 4th down pass attempt. Knocked away here. Boom. And DLB gets the win. Bishop Ryan, after that huge win last week and getting the game ball, well, they're silenced this week, held to just 8 points. The Lakers, heck of an effort by that defense, getting the job done tonight. New Salem Almont had won 44 straight regular season 9-man games up until last week's overtime loss to Hettinger County. No time to lick their wounds, though, taking on undefeated and second-ranked South Border on their home stadium. South Border's Berkeley, France. Hits Levi Buckholz here, and Buckholz going to do the rest, 43 yards.
Yeah, Buckholz showing the speed there, just kind of burning the secondary for the long touchdown.
Start of a big night for France, the quarterback. This time he's going to hit Cole Stock, just roaming wide open out there.
Yeah, a lot of green pasture out there for New Salem, or excuse me, South Border on that one.
And Evan Melmer, the head coach, used to play at Beulah under Jim Dooley, the legendary head coach. And here's Berkeley France, loose again, 60 yards, this time just calling his own number. South Border up 23-0. This is crazy to see on New Salem Almont's home field. But here come the Holsteins. Landon Tellman passes to Wyatt Kuhn, a really good playmaker, and Wyatt Kuhn just runs through 3 defenders like they're nothing. South Border up 23-6 now. And then Connor Koziak, 1-yard touchdown run, just fights, scratches, claws his way in the opening drive of the second half, makes it 29-6. This game just starting to get away. Tellman's gonna get intercepted here by Gettle.
Yeah, just a kind of a tough decision with pressure in your face. Gettle makes the nice interception, and he has a good return after the fact.
And South Border capitalizes after with another touchdown, a pass to Connor Koziak. The Mustangs dominate tonight, 50-12. Berkeley France, 8 of 8 passing for 141 yards and 3 touchdowns to go, 191 yards rushing in a pair of scores. Afterward, he gave the love to the guys up front.
My line is great. They block up everything up front perfectly. It's not really just me, it's all them. You know, my team's there for me, and we just put everything together tonight, I think. Yeah, we look forward to every week. Every Friday is a big game, and this week was a pretty big game, but we kept it in our heads that just another day. We got to take care of business, and after that, we just focus on the next week and go for the bigger goal.
Berkeley France with a statement to maybe get a game ball. And how about that helmet out there, South Border? Evan Melmer made sure that he got me that helmet, and a big win tonight for those Mustangs. We will step aside. We will come back with zone coverage. You are watching Varsity Sports Live. We'll hear from some coaches coming up next.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different.
All right, welcome back. Fargo North sitting at 6-0 now after winning right here on Midco Sports tonight, beating Red River 38-20. And last week relied on the run game. This week a little bit on the pass game. And Adam Rowland, pretty pumped afterwards to have that kind of effort from his team.
We came out right away and we had the ball rolling, and had a couple turnovers there, which kind of worried us because that was what got us last year. And the guys recovered awesome. We were able to actually throw the ball, really nicely. Welk had a great game. We had guys step up that needed to step up tonight and make big plays, both in the passing game and special teams.
So after giving up 38 points to Red River last year, they score 38 and beat the Riders this year. Now, how about South Border? Man, what a win for them tonight to go to New Salem, get that victory. Head coach Evan Melmer, we talked about part of the Jim Dooley, Beulah head coach, legendary head coach lineage, and his South Border team humming along right now, and he's got to be pretty proud.
Shout out to Coach Dooley. Not gonna lie, I didn't know what I was doing when I took this job. Shoot, I'm too young to know what I'm doing, but when you play for a guy like that, you can develop a pretty good offense, and ultimately it comes down to you got to have some dudes up front, and we got a lot of seniors up there that have been 3 or 4 year starters for us, and they work well as a unit. They've committed a lot of time in the weight room, and then you got to have the right attitude. To run the ball, you got to have an attitude, and we have that, and then you get the athletes on the back end, and some good things can happen.
How about the authenticity from Coach Melmer? I was young. I don't know what I was doing, I'll be honest. And now his team, it looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I'd say so. And how about the honesty of him just being like, hey, I didn't know what I was doing, but here we are. We're making the most of it. So.
And now they move to 7-0 and really look like one of the teams to beat in 9-man, them in Sargent County, guys.
I saw a lot of extra credit plays, by the way, Jody, so congratulations up there.
And speaking of extra credit, well, I think we had the game of the night tonight. Harrisburg over
turned
Washington.
Out to be the game of the night.
Yeah, Harrisburg over Washington, 27-24. Brendan White had this to say about his team's impressive win.
Just extremely proud of our guys. We started losing like 3 or 4 defensive guys, then one of our top receivers went out, and our kids just kept battling. A lot of ebbs and flows to that game. I'm just glad we came out on top, and just extremely proud of the guys, how they just were resilient all game, and we got to stop when we needed to, got a big score. We relied on our playmakers to make plays. Homecoming's always a tough week. You don't know, it's a lot of stuff going on, but our guys really focused in that second half and made a lot of plays. So we're looking to really use this as momentum going to West River next week, and then Brookings up there, and then finish with O'Gorman. So we got a tough 3-game stretch. We got to be ready to play.
All right, that's a look at homecoming wins. You take those wins in AAA whenever you can get them. We're gonna wrap this all up with some final thoughts. Darren and I will be right back.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University.